Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very different video for you. I want to take you along a trip down memory lane. Basically, I wanted to have some archival footage to use in videos if I want to show, oh look, this is what this plant looked like a year ago. But then actually I talked to a friend about it and they said, hey, I think this could be really interesting to share as a general video. This is what I'm doing now. I feel like this video would be really long if I filmed now every plant I have in one go, so I figured maybe it's good to show them in kind of sections and kind of group them together. And today I want to start off with my kind of big Brazilian Laelias. We're talking purpurata, xanthina, tenebrosa, crispa and perrinii. These are the ones I have. These are all different color forms as well. And so let's just get started. This is kind of the overview shot for now. So I want to start off with this particular one. This is Laelia purpurata with no additional name to it. So I assume this is a tipo plant. I got this in 2020 for my birthday from two really good friends of mine. This is kind of the plant that started it all. This is the first purpurata I've ever had. So in August this year, I would have had it for 2 years, and there's already an eye kind of swelling up. Continue growth for the next season. As you can see, there has been a really nice size progression from when it arrived to kind of what it looks like now. And this makes me really hopeful that this plant is going to continue with a really nice momentum. You can also see that there are some roots kind of growing in the air. Some are dying off and now it's branching here again. I think I want to repot this plant very soon as well. With the new growth coming in all the roots, it might just need a little upgrade. But I'm really happy with it. It has some freckles on it as well. And this is kind of the purpurata that started it all. Then next up, I have this one. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of this plant when it was younger. This one I bought myself. It's also from Orchids. This is russeliana by rosea-concolor. I think Tropical Plants Finland has this one as well. Not sure. Let us know in the comments. I received this last year and under my care, or like it came with these growths here, and under my care produced this new pseudobulb with the leaf, which is kind of just maturing right now. And as you can see, there's a really nice size jump on it, but something that I'm really not happy about is this plant has some scale. I will definitely have to treat it again. It's so unfortunate that scale just keeps coming up in my collection. I think in a following video I will get to the root of my scale issues, but yeah, it's really unfortunate. I hope I can save this plant. It seems to still be pretty vigorous, but you can see that the back bulb especially, back bulb especially, really suffering. Do you know what I mean? The back bulb especially, you can see this weird chlorosis. I attribute this to the scale infection. But let's see, maybe if I pot it up freshly, if I really clean it up, I can eradicate the scale on this plant. And I mean, look, there's a little root coming out here through this little hole. Yeah, let's see. Put this far away from the other one. Then another one that I got last year, and I got this in a haul actually from Orchids and More. This is Cattleya purpurata vinicolor. These used to be 3 plants, but they came completely with no roots and one of them just didn't make it. I have 2 plants left right now and they are still pretty shriveled. You can see the back bulbs are like desiccated, but it's been working a lot on roots and both of them have produced new growths. They're both kind of maturing right now, so they're finishing up their growth. Very thin pseudobulbs, very slender. This is not what you typically see on a purpurata, but I think it's really because like hydration has been lacking. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one. Vinicolor is a color form that you don't really see as much for sale. So this, I definitely had to snatch this up. And yeah, let's see how this is going to develop. Next up, this is a very tiny one. This is Laelia purpurata or Cattleya purpurata, the sanguinea. And if I'm not completely mistaken, this is actually a named clone, potentially. So this is called Rhineblood. So I don't know if this is Rhineblood by itself or if this is like meristem clone. I don't know, but this is kind of what it looks like. It also has like this weird chlorosis all over. I haven't seen scale on this plant, so I'm not 100% sure where this comes from. So I guess another reason this could have the chlorosis is maybe magnesium deficiency. My fertilizer, however, is pretty rich in magnesium. So I have the striata one, which has 14,782. So it's 14% nitrogen, 7% potassium, 8% phosphorus and 2% magnesium. So this is pretty high compared to other fertilizers. And on top of that, I also add CalMag. So I feel like my plants should have plenty of magnesium. But yeah, I mean, if you recognize this, let me know. But this is, as I said, a sanguinea, so it's a very dark red flower. So this is kind of like a rubra for other Cattleyas. And I'm really happy because this plant is working on 2 new growths right now. So this is really exciting. And I got this plant from Orchid Garden in Poland. Then next up, this is another Orchids and More purchase. This is a community pot of, I think, 2 or 3 Laelia purpurata werkhäuseri. So this is kind of a grayish bluish lip color. It's a color form I really enjoy, and I would like to get a variation on this as well. So Asendorfer Orchideen, they have a Laelia purpurata werkhäuseri striata. So it has like the lavender lip with also some striation in the petals, so that's really interesting. They're all still very small. I think maybe I should separate them from each other so the plants can develop better, but we have nice roots, we have new growth starting, so I'm really happy about that. Speaking of Asendorfer Orchideen, this is the Laelia purpurata, Cattleya purpurata, color form Asu or Asu. Actually, a cross of 2 name clones. It's Cola by Da Palo. This plant is supposed to have a very dark purple lip. So unlike the tipo purpurata, which has more of like a lighter purple magenta-ish lip, this is then actually more of an inky dark color, which I really enjoy. And this plant has been doing pretty well, came in a really good condition, and right now it's working on some new roots and also maturing a new growth, which is much bigger than what it has produced before, and then even a second one. So this plant is actually doing pretty well, and I'm really excited. I feel like I keep saying I'm so excited all the time, but Orch, how couldn't you be excited? Next up, this is a pretty recent acquisition actually. This is Laelia purpurata, or Laelia purpurata, if later keep saying this, millionaria. I got this from Schwerter Orchideen at the end of last year, and you can see the pot is already full of roots. We have roots coming out everywhere, and there are actually 2 new growths forming right now as well in parallel. So this plant is doing really well. I'm really happy with it. And I guess like all of the purpuratas I have, is going to take a few years until it's blooming size. But you know, if you work on 2 growths in parallel, that already shortens the time required for blooming a lot. This plant is really happy, and I'm happy as well. There you go, I didn't say I'm excited. Next up, in that same haul, I got this plant, which is Laelia purpurata striata. This one is supposed to have red or like purplish striping on the petals as well. So yeah, it's a pretty recent acquisition, but you can see again, we have really nice root development on this plant and 2 growths maturing, so yeah, that's very promising as well. Usually I'm not a huge fan of striata color forms, but you know, gotta catch them all. That's the beauty of purpurata. There's just like every color form. And then the last one actually, this is the most recent acquisition. The haul will probably go up next week. It's these two here. I don't know how I can show this. I think I'll just use some B-roll footage. But yeah, this is Laelia purpurata roxo-bispo, which is a magenta lip. It's very recent. It's an import from Brazil, and let's see how this is going to fare under my conditions. You never know, right? Okay, so moving on from the purpuratas. I hope I mentioned them all. I feel like I might be forgetting one, but you know, let's see. The next plant I have is this one. This is a Laelia tenebrosa. And this is a little bit of a sadder story because this plant actually came from werkhäuseri, and I don't know if you can see this. There's like a back bulb that's just completely shriveled, and this was kind of this big already. At some point, it just out of the blue decided to drop all of its roots. To this day, I don't really know why this happened, because every other plant in its surrounding was just happy. They had the same amount of water, like it wasn't just soaking wet or anything. So I really don't know what happened there, but it just completely dropped all roots and then started to consume the back bulbs. And yeah, this is kind of all that's left for now. This is the most recent growth, which is just about to mature, this one here. And it's tiny, it's really sad, but we have some new roots coming and I really hope it's gonna make it. I don't know, this kind of gave the whole species, Laelia or Orchids tenebrosa, a bit of a fussy feel, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe if you have experience with this species, let me know in the comments. How do you grow them? Do you find them a little more difficult to work with than purpuratas? Because in my opinion, like they should be very similar in like care-wise. After the tenebrosa, I would like to show you the xanthina. This is another pretty recent acquisition. I bought this one from Orchids and More in November or December last year. So it's only been a handful of months since I received this. These are 3 plants in here, and I see new roots growing. I see also one of them is producing a new pseudobulb, so that's really nice. The biggest plant here has some very intense freckling on it, which is really interesting. But this is kind of like a Laelia purpurata, but the yellow version of it. Really curious to see what this will look like once it's blooming, which I guess is still at least 3 years away, probably 4. Laelia xanthina, which in the haul video I kept calling it xanthiana, then I had to edit it out. Then I would like to show you my Laelia perrinii. Also came in the same haul as the xanthina from Orchids and More. And this plant was a bit of a disappointment because after repotting it, I noticed a lot of fungus gnats coming out of the pot, which I'm like, I've never had those, so what is this?
What is this? I do not approve of these
fungus gnats. And then also, a few weeks later, the back bulbs were all covered in scale. So I'm like, yay, love that. Anyway, so I think I'm on top of the scale for now. I'm treating this one every week with systemic insecticide. Let's hope it's gonna make it. But we have 2 new growths starting at the base of the plant, so that's always nice. I was really intrigued by this plant when I watched care collabs by Nina from Ninja's Orchids and Ed from Ed's Orchids. And they both showed their really nice Laelia/Cattleya perrinii, and so I really wanted one myself. And then I got this one. What I really like about this one already, even without blooming, is just like the really nice purple underside that the leaves have. Almost like a little mottled effect. So then I got this one, and in the same haul I got these ones, which are Laelia perrinii coerulea. 3 plants, some of which are more vigorous than others. So yeah, let's see. I feel like I potted this one in a very, very big pot. They're growing much slower than I would have liked them to. So I put them into this pot thinking, oh, it's probably like purpurata, which would have taken over the pot very quickly with roots, but that's not the case. So I'm actually considering to put these ones into smaller pots You can see there's a lot of algal growth, which shows that the pot stays wet longer than I would like it to. But yeah, we have new roots growing. We have also, the biggest one has a new pseudobulb forming, so that's always nice. But like these two might be goners as well. So let's see. I'm not super thrilled with the development of this particular pot. There's always good and bad happening, and you can't always have the good. And then I have another very recent acquisition. As you can see, it's moving back and forth in its pot. This is Laelia jongheana, which I only bought because Todd from Todd's Tropicals mentioned this plant to me, or this species to me. And I saw it in a recent Brazil import by Orchids, and then I just snatched it up. This is a very young plant, as you can see, but there's a new growth coming, and I hope it's going to produce new roots very soon, so it stops being such a wobbly little biatch. Don't have any previous footage to show because I literally unboxed this 2 days ago, so there you go. This is all we have for now. Okay, and then last but not least, in today's video, I want to show you another pretty recent acquisition, and you can see it's still a bit wobbly in the pot. This is my Laelia crispa flamea by vinicolor by itself. No idea what this plant is going to look like once it blooms, but also I feel like kind of a long way to go. I think this plant, or like this species, is supposed to grow pretty tall. I got this plant from Loke in November or December last year as well, and it's been working on lots of roots. You can see there's one coming down here, so I expect it to grow pot bound very soon. And there's also a new growth starting, a new pseudobulb coming, which is always the best thing to see on these plants. Kind of came a bit twisted. I'm really interested to see whether the new pseudobulb that's emerging is going to grow up to be this twisted as well. Let's see. And I got this plant actually only for the fragrance of its flowers. As I said in the video where I unboxed this plant, I watched a video by Francisco Miranda where he talks about Brazilian Laelias, and he praised this species a lot for its fragrance. So that's the only reason I got it. So let's see how long I'm gonna have to wait for this one to show me its fragrance. Okay, thank you so much for watching my video on my kind of large Brazilian Laelias. I feel like there has been a lot of progress on some of these plants, and some others may need some time to find their way in their life. And yeah, if they don't like this plane of existence, there's always the next to move on to. Let me know what you think about this video format. I am planning to do my Cattleya labiata, Germaniais, Warneries, and Mossiais, and potentially Percivallianas next. So I feel like this is going to be a video format that would probably go on for a while because I do have quite a few plants to go through. Let me know if you would like to see them all after each other. And right now I'm thinking to probably intersperse this with add some other content so it doesn't get too repetitive. But yeah, with all of that said, thanks a lot for watching and subscribing as well. I've received quite a few new subscriptions lately, so that's really cool. Thanks a lot. And yeah, hope you enjoy your life, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.